Hello, 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 and welcome to Finding Your Food Formula. This is going to sound like a lot of common sense. This is going to sound familiar. You're probably going to wonder why I'm sharing this with you today. And the reason is because we could all use the opportunity to reflect and go back to the basics. Sometimes things get so overcomplicated, whether, it's life and then we feel like we're not doing enough or we're not seeing the numbers on the scale change as quickly as we like, or we're not seeing the energy levels that we hope that we would have achieved by this point in time, but we're still struggling. So, what we're going to do today is talk about finding your food formula. Okay, this is going to keep things really easy for when you're in one of those periods where you're feeling like you're losing control over what you're eating. I know for me personally, when I get stressed, I do turn to food and it makes me feel good. But what I have to come back to is bringing myself back to center and going back to basics so that I don't overdo it, or at least I can catch myself and then deal with what it is that I need to start working on dealing with. So I'm going to give you a lot of strategies here that um, will now help you to navigate these times as well as to set yourself up for success because that's what we really want to do here. We don't want to harp on what's going wrong. We want to point that out for sure so that you know what you can do differently and maybe some things to watch for. But it's really just coming back and finding what's going to work for you in that point in time or that current point in time or until you can kind of pull yourself out of whatever it is you need to pull yourself out of to get back to the place where it's easy again because it shouldn't be overly difficult. It should feel natural. Or your food formula, anyway, your food formula should feel natural. So it shouldn't feel over restrictive. It shouldn't feel like you have to do this or that. So the basics really are your non negotiables. So, what are they? My personal non-negotiables are what are they? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So basically, what I do when it comes to food is I prioritize protein first. That is something that I was having trouble with for a while, and my energy levels weren't. They were tanking. I felt crappy, to be quite honest. And then I wasn't getting enough fiber in my diet. So I was, having a little problems in that department as well. So if anything, what I prioritize first thing in the morning, knowing that this is something that I struggle with all day long, is I do a protein breakfast with some berries and such for just some added fiber. Um, a non-negotiable could be that you get up first thing in the morning and you drink your water. Or maybe it is that you simply just eat breakfast, or that you set a timer to remind yourself to, eat when you're hungry. Because believe it or not, a lot of people even struggle with that, they go on for too long hungry, and then by the time that they do get something in their bellies, they've done too much, and then they have those feelings of kind of regret and kind of feeling gross. So think about your non-negotiables, 3 to 5, keep the list small, it doesn't have to be too much, but think about the things that you just can't go without. So like in my case, protein fiber first thing in the morning. and then I prioritize vegetables and all that other good stuff with my proteins throughout the day as I'm hydrating and all of that fun stuff. So, again, my list is quite small, 3 to 5. So, if you keep it from 3 or at 3 to 5, you're going to feel a lot more in control than you do with something that is like a list of 10 or a list of 20. We don't wanna be overly restrictive here. We just want 3 to 5 things that, we must prioritize, that we must do every single day in terms of how we're eating. Now, again, this isn't about being perfect, because 'cause you're definitely not gonna be perfect. But do your best, and do your best to, at least, on the tricky days, at least, do 1 or 2 of your non-negotiables, and then when things pick up again, you can start adding them back in. This isn't meant to overwhelm you. This isn't meant to, be overly restrictive. This is just a way that you can tune into your body and give yourself a formula that can sustain you for a long time, not just for the short term in whatever reaching your goals means to you. All right, so back to being perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being good or bad. It's just about creating a framework that you can default to when you find that, you know, things are kind of off kilter a little bit. Tune into your physiology. This is a practice that I've been doing a lot, and I can't tell you just how much this works and how effective it is. But when I'm feeling anything, like if I feel something that's like, oh, yeah, that I don't like that, or something that's exciting, even, I tune into that physiology. So it's not just the emotion I'm looking into, it's how my body feels. And if I'm feeling that, things are too overwhelming and I'm not doing it perfectly or I'm not doing it good enough, that's that inner perfectionism or perfectionist coming out in me. And this is something that I need to reel in. So this might be something that you find for yourself too, that, when you find that you're losing control a little bit, that might be your inner perfectionist giving you some trouble, and this is where we need to go back to the basics, finding your food formula, even finding your workout formula, which I'm sure we'll have another training in some point. But really, again, it's just tuning into that side of yourself, into how your body feels, and understanding how your mind feels, and then addressing kind of what's going on in that moment. Yeah, we're like I said, we're not about being perfect here because perfect just isn't sustainable. We wanna create healthy, sustainable habits, for ourselves, our clients, and our families. So, there is no perfection here. We're not expecting perfection. In fact, we hope and expect for the opposite, because these are great learning opportunities that we can work on with you to help you overcome some of these challenges while celebrating the big wins, because we've got to do that too, and we don't do that enough. We're looking at what's not going right as opposed to what is going right, and that's a huge missed opportunity there as well. So, my weekly meal game plan, I don't know why it says in this video, but it's a picture of what my fridge looks like on Sundays. So, what I try and do is I try to plan sides at least a few days a week. I kind of like to eat proteins freshly cooked. But I don't always eat it that way. I will, make up a bunch of burgers or a bunch of meatballs or something, because that's what my kids really like. So, those things I can make ahead of time, but for the most part, what I'm making ahead of time is my sides. So things like rice, salads, potatoes, anything that holds really well. And then some meats or some proteins that I will batch is just chicken breast because I find chicken breast works with pretty much anything. You can throw it on a salad, you can throw it in a wrap, in a sandwich. You can use it for stir fries. So for grab and go proteins, I do find chicken breasts work the best, or even chicken thighs. But things like steak, personally, no, I will cook that to order, if you will. But just keeping it easy, right? Like I said, I don't spend like 5 hours on a Sunday. I just batch with whatever I'm cooking that night. So generally speaking, I'll cook a bit extra on Saturday, or I'm sorry, on Sunday, then I'll have enough, left over for a couple of days or maybe even lunch the next day. And I will eat, I was gonna say uncooked proteins. No, no, I'm eating cooked proteins. But I will eat like leftover meats for lunch, but generally not for dinner. I know it's a thing, but that's just what I prefer. And I'll explain why that's important in just a sec here. So there we go. So batch the staples and plans. So things like soups, stews, sauces, those work really well to cook in larger batches and freeze. I do a lot of that every once in a while. It's not something that I do, every weekend, like I said. But if I'm having like a roast beef or I want to just prep some quick and easy things because I know it's going to be a busy week or I'm heading into a busy season, a lot of these things work really well. And like the sides that I prepare ahead of time, I'll do that to have like kind of fresher foods on hand as well that, I can just reach into the fridge, grab when I need and go. What I didn't mention in the other slide is that I also prepare things like fruits and I just put them in like a fruit salad, just to make it easy for the kids to grab and go as well in the mornings. This stuff works really well. And like, you don't have to plan, days in advance, even a day in advance, a meal in advance. Those things can be really helpful and they stack towards your long term success. So planning for pleasure. This is what I'm talking about in terms of how you like to eat. So I was sharing that, I don't cook too many proteins in advance because I do prefer, it's my preference, to eat it when it's cooked. However, things like chicken breasts work really well. And I can douse them with some salad dressing or whatever, to make it a little bit more extra palatable. But planning for pleasure, planning for food that you enjoy. That should really come first. And, it's kind of funny because this blew my mind with my coach, my nutrition coach. She helps me with the nutrition as well. Steph, she's also a coach on our team, on the Barbell Balance team. But the first thing she said was make it palatable. So that's what I'm going to tell you is make it palatable, plan your food for pleasure. Don't be overly restrictive and think that you have to do things blandly because ketchup might add a little bit more extra than you had planned on. If ketchup makes it taste good and you feel good, remember, tune into that physiology. So if it's making you feel good, it's okay to eat it, right? We're not here to police food, tell you that you can't enjoy salad dressings and ketchup and whatever else you want to eat. By all means, go for it. Now, if you do find that you do go a little more than you'd like, then yeah, by all means, reach out to your coach. Let's see what we can do to help you out with that, and work your way back. Because sometimes, again, when we try to cut things out all at once, that kind of backfires. So we just want to make sure that you are Whenever you're making nutritional changes, that, we're guiding you in a way that's going to work for you. And we can give you that feedback on how to navigate through, during times that are just different. Just different. All right. So, yes, first and foremost, eat what you love. I don't know why this is not working for me. So we talked about this again, eating what you love, first and foremost, simple things to throw together. So I shared a few of my ideas with you about the sides and the proteins. So by all means, steal that. If you prefer to do a lot of prep all at once, then do it all at once. Do whatever works for you. All right. And then really just keep it simple, silly, or keep it simple, or yes, keep it stupid simple. But yeah, we really want to keep it simple. We want this to be kind of like second nature. So stick with the basics, right? Like even when you're planning out your meals, it's generally speaking like proteins, fruit, or veggies, a bit of carb, maybe some fruit for dessert. Adding in the fats and hydration in there as well. And if you really just stick with that, like protein with every meal and snack, that'll ensure there that you're getting enough protein throughout the day. And it doesn't have to be just animal based proteins, like this can be beans and such as well. Avoid feeling overwhelmed when possible. Now, when you are feeling overwhelmed, again, that's what we're here for. That's what we can help you out with. So whenever and it's not just about your fitness stuff, right? If you're feeling overwhelmed with food, if you're feeling like you're not in control the way that you'd like to be, then this is the stuff that we can help you out with. We can help you find your food formula that works for you. Steph is really good at doing this and making nutrition a routine. She's amazing. Like I said, I've been working with her for a while and I've seen big differences in how I'm prioritizing how I eat. But that was something that I needed to work on because what I was doing previously wasn't working for me because, kids were getting home after school and trying to cook everything at dinner time. It was a lot. So I needed to get help with that. And don't shit all over yourself. My therapist says this to me all the time. Don't shit all over yourself. Don't be like, I should have eaten it this way. I shouldn't have eaten that. I should eat it this way. I should be eating more of this. Don't do that to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Just stick with the basics. Understand that you're not going to be perfect. And when you're not perfect, that's okay. Tune into what you need. Ask yourself what you need, tune into the physiology, and just go back to basic. Really, just go back to basic. When you're in doubt, go back to basic. And like I said, if you're not sure what that is, if you're not even sure what your food formula is, we can help you out with that. So let me know and we'll get you set up. Oops, I did not see that there. But it's supposed to say start and end your day with a win. So personally, what I like to do is reverse engineer my day. So instead of being like, I want to wake up with lots of energy, I start with how do I want to wake up, or I'm sorry, how do I want to go to sleep? And typically, when I want to go to sleep, I want to go to sleep feeling good. I want to go to sleep feeling like I had a good day. Because if I go to sleep well, then I'm going to wake up with a win. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to have some energy. Gonna bounce out of bed, which I love doing, by the way. But starting your day with, and ending your day with a win is really huge. So for me, like I said, I was struggling with protein for a while, protein and fiber especially. So that's how I would start my day. I would plan out my breakfast the night before, put it in the fridge, get it ready, and then my morning was already set up for me. So even just doing that, setting yourself up the night before to win the next morning, that's huge. Imagine you doing that with your entire family and getting them out the door without screaming at them. Kind of how mornings are in my house. Um, Journaling. Now, up until recently, I kind of thought this was a bit of hooey, but then I've come to realize that I think people just journal and express themselves in different ways. So, if gratitude is something that works for you, then by all means, journal with gratitude. Share the things that you're grateful for. Personally, for me, I seem to draw out maps. So, I'll write something down and then just kind of map it out. That's how I seem to organize my thoughts, when they're all jumbled up, but it helps me to even plan out some of some of my meals or, like I said, if I'm going in through a busy time and I need to plan ahead, I find just writing it down in a notebook so that I can sort it out visually is really helpful. So don't be afraid to journal for all different reasons. Meal planning, gratitude, a daily plan. I write to-do lists everywhere. I'm a big fan of to-do lists. Um, but anything that can really set you up for success and take that overwhelm from your head and jotting it down onto paper gives you a lot of clarity and it helps you to download that jumbled mess into something a bit more organized and concrete. So I go to the dollar store. They have these amazing journals. They're like $4 each, which I should go back and buy some more because I can never have too many. I write down, client notes, any kind of client conversation that I'm having with someone. Gosh, everything. So do this. It's helpful, even if it's like a word or 3 words at most. It doesn't have to be anything big. And then I like to set the intention and make time for reflection. So I do this on a daily basis, like I said. So I'll start the day with intention by writing down some of the things that I need to get done in a day. Sometimes I will write down what I'm planning on eating. I generally don't log what I'm eating, just what I plan on eating so that I can grab it and go, when I'm feeling busy or if I don't have a lot of time to prepare something that's going to take some time to prepare. And then I reflect on it. How did it go? What could I have done differently? What went well? What can I eliminate? What don't I need? And I'll run through these questions just to myself. It doesn't take long, maybe a few minutes. And I write this down in my journal as well, and it's something that I find that's just helping me out a lot throughout the day, but especially at the end of the day, getting that brain dump out and reflecting on it and then putting it away for the next day. So there you go. If you want more help with this, like I said, myself or my team of coaches, we're more than happy to help you out with the nutritional piece and finding your food formula. This will take a little bit of work, so it's definitely not an overnight process. But we're here to work with you, help you narrow down what your basics are, things that you can always easily default to when needed. Um, and we can also help you implement that into your current workout programs. So it doesn't have to take a lot of extra work. You don't have to do a lot of extra stuff. Um, but yes, so if you want to get in touch, just get in touch through our website. Email's probably best at barbellbalance.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. But we're really happy to help you with this. Like I said, Coach Steph is amazing with, helping you work it into your family life so that you can balance out your energy levels and feel better in your 40s than you did in your 20s. So if you need any help, please let us know and we'll, get that set up for you. So thank you so much for stopping by. Take care, and we'll be in touch soon. Bye.